Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Developing the Leader Within podcast. I'm Enrique, your host, and today I have a special guest. I've been wanting to interview him since the first moment I saw him on LinkedIn because he was doing great things. Ahmed Imam is with me from Australia. Ahmed, thank you so much for taking this time out to share this platform with me and the topic that we're going to be talking about, leadership and connecting with greatness. Welcome.
It's a pleasure to be here, and I absolutely love the topic. I can't wait to dive into it.
Outstanding. Thank you so much. Now, folks that are listening, the reason why I'm talking about this with Ahmed is because he has done something that's phenomenal, something that can be done by all you leaders listening. Maybe not at the scale he has, and he's going to tell us some things that he's done to get to that point, but just in your circle. So we're talking about connecting with greatness, and there's two facets that I really want to concentrate on today: the greatness within the leaders and the greatness around the leader. And so, Ahmed, if you wouldn't mind just giving us a little bit of background about you and what you're doing, and then we'll get into all the good stuff.
Thank you very much, and I appreciate the lovely introduction. You're absolutely right. It's connecting with greatness within yourself, and then also seeking out greatness. Finding the people that have already done it before you, and then asking them for directions. And that's really all I've done over a very long period of time. But look, let me start off by saying I'm nobody special. I'm just someone that has stuck to a process and trusted that process. And to give you an example, 15 years ago, I was so shy and awkward, terrified of public speaking. I couldn't even look people in the eyes. That's how shy and awkward I was. My confidence was crushed. I had a very low opinion of myself, and that's because a lot of things that I experienced earlier on in life. And so when I say I trusted the process, I trusted the fact that if I went through a series of things, really just a series of challenges, knowing that I would actually grow through those challenges. And when I say grow through them, I'm talking about facing things that I was terrified of. And over a period of time growing through them, I knew that I would become a better person. And it wasn't over a short period of time. I'm not talking about I did this over a course of 6 years, 6 months. This is something that I did over the course of 10, 15 years, which led me to where I am today. I'm more confident than ever. I'm at a stage now where I'm presenting, I'm hosting, I'm speaking in front of groups, crowds of people, and inspiring many people through my journey as well. And so I'd love to dive deeper into that because I truly believe it's something that anybody can do. And it's a combination of confidence and courage. If anything, it actually starts with courage. And I believe it takes courage to speak your truth. And that's really what I've done.
Outstanding. And, you mentioned something that's so critical for people to understand is that these types of events, these types of platforms, these types of points in our lives don't just happen overnight. It takes a process. You said trust the process. I've said that before. It is a process, and it's just like a cake, right? You try to fast pace that cake, you're not gonna like what it tastes like when when it comes out the oven. It's just not gonna be the same as if you took the time that was designated to get that cake from the liquid position, form to what everybody eats. And so, what I'm trying to get at is that, folks, things don't happen overnight. You have to be consistent, and you have to go for the things that you know are going to be in your best interest for your future self. So let's talk a little bit about what you're doing. And you mentioned you took this journey. It's taken a while, but your Success Resources Australia, right? You're in that, and you're also teaming with Michael on Level Up TV, which I love what the program you guys are doing. I try to catch as many as I as I can because the time difference, but you guys are doing great things. So tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, for sure. There's a lot going on there. So I mean, I'm now the presenter and host for Success Resources Australia, and the amazing thing about that is my journey started when I say I went through this shift where I had to become courageous, and had to build my confidence. That shift actually started by someone introducing me to Tony Robbins, right? And this was a while ago. So someone gave me this 24 disc CD set, and it was a CD set. We're talking a while back, but I'd never seen it before. I never knew what self improvement was. Um, I'd never seen Tony Robbins before. He was an interesting character. But I went home, I put on that very first CD, and as soon as I heard it, and as soon as I heard Tony's voice, and I'm sure Tony's voice, it just changed me. And that's what led me to actually take up these challenges and face my fears and grow as a person. So Success Resources, fast forward to today, is one of the world's largest, or is the world's largest events promoter. And we've been partnered with Tony Robbins for more than a decade. And so it's for me to be in a position where I'm now a presenter and host and partner with someone like Tony Robbins, who was incremental in helping me start my journey. It feels like a full circle. So they're just incredible. The managing director of Success Resources, Michael Lane, him and I have been doing a lot of work together, especially in the content space. And we thought we'd do something different and innovative on LinkedIn. And what we noticed was, LinkedIn Live was starting to pick up, but everyone was kind of doing it the same. So we wanted to do something a little bit different. We thought, what if we actually created a TV show on LinkedIn, as in quite literally the format of a TV show, with that level of quality and with that level of interaction. And that's what we did. And we're both very passionate about self-improvement and personal development and just leveling up. So we said, why don't we call it Level Up TV? It'll be LinkedIn's very first TV show. And that's what we did. We've been going live every single week now for about a year. And every single week we teach people how to level up in life, in business, and influence. And we feature a lot of incredible talent and learn from their lessons. So there's a lot going on, and when I think about it and talk about it, it's actually quite surreal. Comparing where I was, like I said, 10, 15 years ago.
I love that because there's if we could all see in the future who we would be probably scared of it, right? But it's all these little steps that get us to the point where we can actually fit into the shoes that we were made to wear. And that's a very, you say surreal. There's a lot of surreal moments in my life as I think back to where I started and where I am today and the things that I'm doing and involved with. I could not wear these shoes 10, 15 years ago. I would have been a mess, right? I really would have messed it up. So it's good to know that you guys have taken the things that you're good at and done something like, Level Up TV, which like I said, I try to catch every one of them, but they're on Australia time, so I always try to at least catch the replay. And you guys are doing great work there. You mentioned Tony Robbins. He just had a 5-day, straight event. It was a great event. I enjoyed every bit of the moments that I were able to watch. But I'm very familiar with Tony Robbins, John Maxwell, all those guys that are doing great things in the leadership realm and the influence and inspiration realm. And they're doing some wonderful work as they have for almost 30 years. When you talk about both of them tandemly, right? So let's talk a little bit about what it is that a person has to do to start connecting with greatness, specifically themselves, because a lot of people are very convinced that there's not an ounce of greatness in them, and there is a level of humility that needs to be had by leadership. I believe that wholeheartedly. A leader that is void of humility will be in abundance of failure. Failure will come for you, right? And hard. But when you are humble, you have the ability to step back into a lot of situations and circumstances and be able to, see your way through situations and problems with humility. But there are a lot of people that can't believe that there's an ounce of greatness in them. So what would you tell those people that are, at that level in their life that they just can't see it.
And I 100% get that. I mean, I was there. I had such a low opinion of myself that, you told me, that I had talents, that I had potential, and I just wouldn't have believed you. But I'll tell you what, and this is the incredible thing about how it works when you truly believe in people or you actually put yourself out there to inspire someone. I truly believe that every leader has one job, and that's just to inspire people. Inspire them to believe in themselves and inspire them to believe in the vision and the purpose of what they're doing, whether they're a staff member or someone that you're mentoring, it doesn't matter. But I mean, it usually only takes one person to completely shift your entire trajectory. Like for me, it was that person that handed me that 24 disc CD set that completely shifted everything for me. And that person believed in me in that moment, despite the fact that I didn't believe in myself. And through that one event that probably doesn't mean much to them, changed everything for me, right? And we can be that one person to anybody around us. Like all we need to do is show them how to believe in themselves, even just give them a compliment, give them a smile, give them some direction, and it could change everything for them. And so I try and be that person to as many people as I can throughout the day and every day. In relation to the bigger picture, there is so much that can be done, and for me, it was courage and confidence. And you'll hear me speak about that often. It absolutely takes courage to lean into yourself, to peel back a few layers and show people these other sides of you or the real you. Because a lot of the time we put on these masks, we put on this character, and it's usually a defense mechanism so people don't get to know us or so we don't screw up or we don't stuff up, right? But peeling off that mask and actually just presenting yourself to the world takes courage. And in terms of confidence, confidence is a huge piece. And for me, confidence isn't about just waking up in the morning and straightening your back and lifting up your shoulders and lifting up your chin and being a confident person. Confidence takes work. When they say you have to put in work or you have to work on yourself, it's called work for a reason because it's not easy. And confidence is built by accomplishment, accomplishing tasks, right? When you accomplish tasks, and it doesn't matter how small or how big, you build confidence. And just like going to the gym and building a muscle, it's not something you can do just for a week and it lasts you forever. It doesn't. You have to constantly go to the gym. You have to constantly be accomplishing tasks to be able to maintain the confidence and build up that level of confidence. And when you do that over the course of years, your confidence builds exponentially and you build what I call real confidence, right? Because we all have confidence that we put on when we're in a situation that requires a bit of courage, and it's not really real confidence, but it's something that we've learned to do. It's similar to putting on a mask. When you build that real confidence over years of accomplishing things, you present yourself as you are to be presented, the real you. And there's nothing more rewarding than that. But I would start with a base of courage. Everything starts with courage, and use that courage to start putting yourself in situations and challenging yourself and growing through those challenges and fears to actually build that real confidence and that long-term confidence. And that's how it's worked for me.
Yeah, great advice on that. Confidence truly comes from you seeing fruit of your labor, right? When you see it, you get to saying, "Wow, okay, maybe I do have a little bit in me, and I could
Exactly
really
right.
get through this, and maybe I could do this again, and maybe next time it's for a bigger audience, and maybe next time it's for a bigger audience, because everybody started with nobody." For leaders out there that are trying to figure out, man, do I have greatness or not? Everybody started with nobody, and that's how it is. So if you're at nobody, that you're even keel. You're right where everybody started. So
You're
you
you're
yeah,
where
you're
all
not
of
right. You're not missing much. Just start as Ahmed said. Just building on little milestones, pressing forward, and getting yourself a little notch on the belt, and saying yes. All right, let's go for the next one. So I love that. So
that's
when
and that's
when
what it
I
is. And sorry to cut you off. I mean, those
No.
milestones, those accomplishments, are just you proving to yourself that you have the ability to do something, that you have the ability to accomplish something. And then you do challenge yourself a little bit more, the more confidence and courage that you build. And it just builds on itself almost like a compounding effect. So that's all it is. It's you proving to yourself that you have that potential.
Yes, I believe that wholeheartedly. Now, when we talk about folks, let's say, hey, they got this down. Now they start building on it. We mentioned earlier, this is not an overnight success, or everybody be there, right? It's just compounded effort throughout the years that'll get you to moments of greatness. Now, everybody has individual moments of greatness, and it doesn't have to be this grand celebration for it to be considered a moment of greatness. And I think a lot of people are waiting for the ticket tape parade, a parade down, down New York, and that signifies that they've done something great. It could be as easy as you mentioned this earlier, just giving that person the right word at the right time, the right set of CDs. Now, I don't know what they would be equated to now. What nice set of YouTube catalog. I don't know, but yeah, yeah, right. So those moments that equate to greatness do not have to be a grand thing for it to be great. And so I think a lot of leaders are waiting for that big event, and they just never get it because what they're expecting as a greatness point in their life, it doesn't have the bells and whistles and the explosions of fireworks behind them. So for those that are looking for greatness in the wrong category, what would you suggest that they be looking for? Because everybody's different.
Yeah, look, often these visions and these, illusions of grandeur, or these big pictures we have in our head of what it looks like when we are great or when we are successful, usually comes because we're comparing ourselves to other people, and that's where you go wrong, right? Like I believe that you shouldn't compare your chapter one to someone else's chapter two, because if you do that, you're going to be doubting yourself all the way through. And so the best way to approach this is just have the right perspective by comparing yourself to the person that you were yesterday. If you accomplish something today that was a little bit better than the person of yesterday could have accomplished, then that is a moment of greatness, right? And it doesn't matter how big or how small. And I'll give you an example. Like when I was building my confidence from scratch, and like I said, I didn't even want to speak because I felt like I didn't want to take up the voice space. That's the level that I was at. I was challenging myself by doing things like, I would say, today I'm going to walk down the street and I'm going to say hello to 5 strangers, right? I'm going to walk down the street or I'm going to smile at 5 strangers. That's where I started from, that level, right? And accomplishing that was a moment of greatness for me because it's something that I did that I hadn't done previously. And all of a sudden that goes from, smiling at 5 people to speaking to 5 people to having a conversation. I remember when I did my first sales presentation in front of 3 people, and it was the moment that I was actually presenting, properly for the first time, as confidently as I could. It was in front of 3 people. That was a moment of greatness because that's, again, me breaking through some sort of barrier. So compare yourself to the person of yesterday. And a lot of people have said this, just try and be 1% or maybe 2% better than that person of yesterday. And you'll be amazed at how much progress you make over the course of 12 months or a couple of years. So the biggest problem that we have there is that we're comparing ourselves to other people, and that's a mistake.
Yeah, I believe that wholeheartedly. I used to say, and I still do at times, the only competition I have is my yester me. And I made that up. My yester me. That's who I was yesterday, and yeah, it truly is amazing when I look at the things that I did yesterday compared to the things that I did today. Um, when I focus on that granular level, I can pick out things that I did better. And it does give you a sense of joy and a sense of accomplishment and a sense of, man, this is working. You keep at it, and before you know it, this is going to be something big. This is some, and not looking for those grand things, but it's inevitable, right? When you do something good over a long period of time, you become the GOAT, right? That's why they got the GOAT for, right? Greatest of all time. You
Yeah,
and it doesn't have to be in the ring. It doesn't have to be on the basketball court. It doesn't have to be on some stage. It could be right where you are, where everybody comes asking you for the solutions and the processes and how to get to point B from point A, because they have confidence in you that your time spent trying to get this thing right where it's supposed to be is worth going after and asking and seeking your advice. So for folks out there, that you're trying to live out somebody's chapter 15 or chapter 50. I picked up a book the other day. It was like 100. I was like, I put it down. I said, no, I don't want 100 chapters. but 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 it's true. Comparing is one of the challenges that you'll find yourself in leadership, and it'll come, but you have to only compare to your yesterday. So I love that, Ahmed. That's a great point. Now let's dive into connecting with greatness outside, right? Because inevitably we're gonna get so good that now we have to connect with others to grow, right? You connected with Michael. You connected with the folks that you're around dealing with success resources. You had to connect to those people, but they needed to see some type of level of greatness, right? In order for them to say, okay, we'll let you do this. So how do I go from achieving, that greatness within me to now connecting with greatness outside of me? Because there is a difference.
mentors. And I can't emphasize the importance of mentors enough. And look, I've got many mentors right now. You don't only need to have one. You can have a mentor in every single space and category within your life. A mentor for health might be a personal trainer. You might have a mentor that teaches you how to be and stay happily married. You might have a mentor that passes on words of wisdom. You might have a business mentor. You can have an endless amount of mentors that help you in different areas. But essentially, the way you find these mentors is you look to people that you admire, that have inspired you, people that are in a place right now that you aspire to be in. And then you approach them and you ask them for directions. And I don't know many people that have been approached by someone that wants them to be a mentor and they've said no. You know, it's everybody's way of paying it forward. When you reach the top level, you send the elevator back down, and that's how it works. Mentors are so powerful, and they will quite literally help you expedite your journey. A lot of the mistakes that you're bound to make without their help, they've been through. They understand intimately, and they can help you navigate them, and you'll save years, if not decades. The other thing I want to emphasize is just don't be afraid to ask. So many people are just afraid to ask because they think, oh, there's absolutely no way that person will say yes, or there's absolutely no way that I could potentially do this, or that person would allow me to do this. Just ask, you know. And it's probably something that I've learned from my sales years, because I'm used to getting rejected, knowing that if I stay with the process and I put in the work, that I will hear a yes at the right time. And that's how it works. Just ask the question. Ask someone, will you be my mentor? Ask someone for directions. Ask someone for an opportunity. Ask someone to help you open a door. Ask someone to help you get introduced to someone that they know. And you'll be amazed at how many yeses you get, almost to the point that you'll be blown away. And before you know it, you're in a position that you never would have dreamed of. And you continue the process from there, so you keep learning and you keep expanding. But I mean, yeah, the biggest message for me to others is make sure you seek out people that you admire, and be very careful as to who you choose to have as a mentor. Make sure they're people that have actually done it and lived it, and can help you navigate that journey. And the second thing is just ask the question, and you'll be amazed at the response.
Yeah, I totally echo that. I mentor on different levels. I mentor veterans. I mentor local folks here in business. I mentor people that are coming out of the military as well. And in all those different facets of life, having someone to go to that has been there, going through it, or have gone through it, kind of, it just takes the edge off of your journey. It gives you a clearer and more smoother road to travel, and no money can buy you that. Only the advice that they give you, and I love that you you said be careful, because you could get attached to somebody that on the outside looks like they got it right, but you start digging too much and then you figure out that they didn't. But take a time to look at folks as they're living out their life, and that'll be a great indicator for you whether they could fit the mold of a mentor in your life. But I completely agree that mentorship is one of the ways of getting to connect with greatness outside of you. Now let's talk a little bit about connecting in the sense of networking to people that are just shattering ceilings, right? They're doing these things, and mentorship is one way, because a mentor could connect you, right? You met somebody that connected you with somebody, and then all of a sudden, bam, here you are in Success Resources Australia, or you're doing, your Level Up TV, with Michael. So how can I get a little more courage than just the courage to get myself in the right position to start reaching out? And you mentioned ask, right? Ask is the first thing. If you don't ask, you don't get. Period. Right? There's gonna be seldom where things are just gonna land in your lap without you asking. It's hard. So how do I get from just meeting normal people and just and networking that way, uh, and in turn meeting somebody that is going to change my world?
We're living in a different world right now. Like 15 years ago, there was no social media, right? And if you look at social media right now, it is everything. It is business, it is networking, it is connection, it is social advocacy. I mean, it is literally everything right now. And so what I've done to help expedite my process is take advantage of social media, and anybody can do this. You just make yourself visible. The strategy is know, like, and trust, and to get people to know you first. And in my opinion, there's no better way to do that at scale than creating content and engaging on other people's content. There are many social media platforms out there. They all do things slightly different. They all have a slightly different target audience. The platform of my choice is LinkedIn. It's a professional B2B platform. The people that are on there are the decision makers that I can reach out to straight away. And it's a great way to build your influence within the professional space, especially if you're in a similar space to what I am. And so my suggestion is start creating content. Start small. Understand what your niche is, understand who your target audience is, and speak to them via content. It can be video content, it can be text, it can be articles, it can be image posts, it can be carousel posts, it doesn't matter. But use that platform, that free platform, to speak your truth, to showcase your expertise, and to make yourself visible. Now, once you make yourself visible by both creating content and engaging on other people's content, and you can be very strategic with who you engage with, right? My suggestion is engage with people that you admire, influencers that you aspire to be like, or you aspire to be in their environment, because that works in a very, very powerful way. But once people know you and you start to become visible, people will then get to like you, hopefully. And the best way to get people to like you is to be authentic and to be consistent with your authenticity. Right? Just like you and I are doing now, we're just speaking our truth. We're talking about our stories. It just what you see is what you get. That's the way you want to present yourself on social. You don't need to park yourself in front of a Ferrari. or in front of a private jet. What people want to hear is you and your story as a human. And the way you connect with people and get people to like you is to be as human as you possibly can be, because that's something we can all relate to at a foundation level. Once people like you and your authenticity, they will then tend to trust you. And trust is what the goal is, right? That's what we're all aiming for, because once people trust you, they will do business with you, they will partner with you, they will buy from you, they will, open up doors and opportunities for you. And we're so lucky to be in a space where we can reach thousands, tens of thousands of people for free, and present ourselves to the world and spread our message using a platform that just wasn't around 15 years ago. Let's take some of the amazing speakers that we know of these days, right? We mentioned Tony Robbins before. Tony Robbins did it the hard way, right? Like Tony Robbins started his journey 40 years ago, and he started by speaking at nearly every single event he could possibly speak at. He was doing infomercials. He was putting out CDs and books and DVDs. I mean, he was absolutely hustling. And right now we have the ability to reach, like I said, thousands, tens of thousands of people via the use of social media and content creation. And that's the future right there. So there's been many people that have become influencers and very, very successful, icons within their space through clever and strategic use of social media. And so that's an easy way to network. And everybody has heard, it's not what you know, it's who you know. It's the absolute truth. When you know the right people, opportunities will open up, and if you use the same strategies that we've mentioned before, and that is continue to ask for an opportunity. When you're asking people that are, at a higher level of those opportunities, you find better opportunities. You have to start from somewhere, and it starts by making yourself visible.
Yeah, I completely agree. You mentioning all that, and I start thinking about how I came up with the whole, list of interviews for the whole entire year. This started back in October when I started reaching out to everybody. And most of the people was like, "Whoa, man, that's next year. Talk to me, 6 months down the road." But my strategy was to get the right people with the right topics throughout the year. And when I asked you back October last year, and
I remember.
yeah, everybody was like, "Whoa, man, that's some planning." But it takes that. If you want the right people to talk about the right thing, and you want to stick to that, you stick to your plan. And I asked, right, and to your point, I asked, and before December 31st, I had the entire year already booked.
You're kidding. That's amazing.
The entire 2021 was booked before December 31st.
That's amazing.
But it was a simple ask. People that I asked, I already have been engaging. I've been following you and Michael and all your work for a while now. Before I asked, and obviously engaged in your posts and things like that. So to your point, there are things that people must do. So leaders that are listening, those that want to be leaders that are listening, there is a way to do things. Before you ask, you have to invest some time, right? You have to, and it's a two-way thing. And in the investing, I got more than my time invested. So, so it's definitely a fact.
And that's another strategy, using social media. If you have an influencer or someone in your industry that you admire, that you aspire to be, that you want proximity to, use social media. Make yourself visible by consistently engaging on their content with a viewpoint. Add some value to their post. Believe me, to this day, and I've been blessed now to grow a following of almost 1 million followers. To this day, every time I post, I notice the people that comment, right? Especially people that comment consistently.
Right.
And if one of those people were to send me a message, they'd have my attention, right? So that's the way to do it. And we can all do this to a certain extent, depends on who you're reaching out to.
Right.
But we can all do this by just being clever and strategic, and also making sure that we're adding value in some way before we ask for something as well. Right? Like I've like just a very quick story. I had someone that, and I get asked quite often for podcasts or interviews, or people that want to be mentored or whatever it might be. And it's very difficult to keep up with those messages. But I had an amazing case of someone just late last year who sent me a message by saying, "Hi, Ahmed, I would love to create a outro for you that you can use on all your videos. All I need is just a couple of photos. If you can send that to me, I'll create something amazing for you, free of course." And that's what I did. I'm like, all right. I sent through a couple of images and a couple of videos, and they took a week to do it, and they came back to me with an outro that was amazing. I put it at the end of all my videos to this day. And I mean, when you think about all that work that got put in and the value that he added to me, of course I'm going to give that person time in terms of mentoring or in terms of any knowledge that I can pass on. And so when they did ask if I can, spare some time for a quick call, I was like, of course. It's a no-brainer. So, I mean, if you focus on adding value first and thinking how you can add value first to that person before you ask them for something, believe me, you'll have their attention.
Yeah, that's absolutely. That's just the way it is. And so, folks, if you're looking for a way to tap into greatness that's around you, right? We talked about the one inside of you. Now this is the ones outside of you. That's the way to do it. And not so much with, you have a strategy, right? So you have something in your mind that you want to accomplish, right? So that's why you're asking. But that can't be the first thing, right? You have to invest. You have to build relationships. You have to give in before you start to draw out or even think about drawing out. And, the folks that I had lined up for 2021 were people that I was already amazed with and what they were doing. So it didn't take too much time out of my day to invest into their success as well. Because, hey, every time you comment, that's a success on their part. And then also you get to interchange some thoughts and ideas, and hey, your thought may trigger something on their end. So don't sell yourself short. I've had a lot of things like that happen with me and some of my guests on the show. I just said one thing. I thought it was just a comment. They thought it was the greatest thing since sliced bread. I was like, okay, great. And it spun into a deeper relationship, and that I'm fortunate and so glad about that. So Ahmed, if the folks that are listening wanted to get a hold of you, look at your content and follow all the work that you're doing, what would be the best way to do that?
You can find me on LinkedIn, on Instagram, on Clubhouse these days as well, and it's all at the handle at the Ahmed Iman. So that's at the Ahmed Iman. I'm probably most active on LinkedIn. If you hear this and you want to connect, please shoot me off a message. I will respond. Just mention that you heard me on this show, and I look forward to hearing from you.
All right, folks. So you heard it. LinkedIn is the place. That's where I live as well. I mean, I have other platform spots, but that's what they are. They're spots because I live on LinkedIn. Folks, thank you for joining and listening to us today. Ahmed, thank you so much for taking out your morning to be with us and to share your thoughts on connecting with greatness. Everything you said was spot on, and I knew it would be. So just thank you for that. And any parting words you might want to share before we go?
Yeah, look, the parting words that I like to say all the time are just be kind to yourself. Life is not easy. We all know that, but it's much, much harder when you're not kind to yourself.
Right. Yeah, profound words. As simple as that may be, it's so hard to do because this world demands so much out of us. But if you take the time to do what Ahmed just said, you'll be happier at day's end, right? So thank you once again for everybody listening. And as we love to close this show, success to you.